I did want to take some time to fill in a story that I recorded twice, but my audio had issues, my video had issues, and I really don't like repeating myself, so it's kind of been a gap in my story of the 701 reliability. Take it back to like year one, when I first took off the brush guards, replaced the Brembo, and replaced the master cylinder with a RCS 15. And when you take off the brush guard, it's a different part that goes in here to secure the clutch lever. It's a different little nut and a different bolt. And I guess because I took this off-roading and all the jostling and bumps and hitting ruts and stuff, it had gotten loose. And once early in my lifespan of 701, it had come off, and I noticed it one day when I was just looking at my bike. I was like, whoa, it's missing the bottom retaining nut. And I had this other part that was it's actually, I think it came out of the back end when I put on the tail tidy, the fender eliminator. It's a what do you call it? It's a backing plate for a nut, like for a screw. So it's not a proper nut, but it's got the same thread pattern as this guy, so it works. I didn't have to go out there and try to figure out what millimeter and thread depth the screw is and go find the matching nut. I just put on that retaining bolt. It wasn't even a bolt. It's like a backing piece of aluminum, really. I don't know what you call it, but it worked. And so that's what I rode with for a couple of years. And then 2 years ago, I was going over Herman Pass, and I hit a big old rut, and the whole thing just went boom, blew apart. And I had to backtrack on the trail. I found my clutch lever, I found the pin, I found the safety pin, and I had to hobble my way back home with the quick shifter. And so that was my first little run-in with maintenance, right? That was my own fault as far as reliability. That was because I jerry-rigged the backing. I should have put a nut on there with some Loctite, and so that was on me. Now the second big thing that happened to me, year two, regular maintenance, you gotta flush your hydraulic clutch fluid. And I did that, and that's when I realized, like, it gets so gunky in there, you don't want to wait 2 years. You want to do that every year. And so I think it was like the next year or the year after, and I stripped out the bleeder bolt on the clutch sleeve itself. I was like, dang. And so that, and then when I had the incidents where this blew out, and I lost my quick shifter, once you cycle the ECU and you don't have the safety pin in there, it disables your quick shifter. The only way to re-enable it, you have to go over here to the dealership and plug it in, and then you gotta recalibrate the whole thing. So that was a blessing in disguise, because it really did come out awesome. Damn, I had an amazing tune, I'll call it. It was perfectly calibrated, or it is. No matter like how much gas I give it, it just quick shifts like so smooth, buttery smooth. And I used to have a scat pack, so dang, look at those rear tires, sticky icky. You want to be behind him. That's pretty dope. Race car, drag racer. Damn. And so when I blew this guy out and took it into the shop, right, get my quick shifter recalibrated, got the bleeder valve replaced, that was the first time I ever touched the clutch slave ever. We're talking, this is like year 4 of ownership. First time I ever touched it. And I can promise you that to get that little bleeder valve out where I stripped it out and it broke off, they would have had to take the clutch slave off, put it on a vise, put a tool in there to unwind the screw. And so in hindsight, they messed with it, right? The dealership took it off, put it back on. Most likely, obviously, they torqued it to spec, but they touched it. Anytime you start fiddling with shit, that's when stuff starts to go bad or get loose, whatever, right? But it was, you know, my clutch slave was never loose, never had an issue with it. You know, the inlet, I don't know what you call it, but the tube, the cable that goes in your hydraulic right into the clutch slave never came loose. No issues with it, right? But they took it apart. So I think what happened is, fast forward over the next 8 months of ownership, it slowly backed out, and it probably became loose from, again, off-roading, all the jostling and kind of riding that I do. And I bet you that's what happened. And it slowly leaked behind because I didn't have a pool or a puddle. But when I took off my skid plate, I did notice a discoloration under where it would have been dripping. A little buildup of some like dirt and grime, indicating that it had been wet in that area. So most likely it was a very slow leak, slow drip. And I'm guessing it came from the inlet valve. I bet you my OEM clutch slave is just fine. And I put myself through a world of hurt going with aftermarket when I could have troubleshot it. But there's the catch-22 when you're troubleshooting your clutch slave. If you're wrong, it costs you an oil change every time. Because when you're wrong, it leaks back into your engine casing, contaminates your oil. You got to change it. And these things are running at about $120 an oil change these days. Not cool. And that's what happened to me when I lost the clutch fluid. I saw that little stain and I was like, man, I'm not gonna mess with this. $120 a pop, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So what I did, instead of guessing and risking $120 a pop, is I spent $200, right? Instead of $120, spent $200 at the Oberon, slap it in there, good to go. And I really like the Oberon, the feel of it, the performance of it. That is a racing clutch slave. You get an upgrade. You can feel the pressure. It's got more pound pressure in the stick, and so you get more action. Problem I had is it started to leak after 6 months, and I had kind of the exact same experience with the OEM, right? It was like a slow leak. I'm like, what is this? Well, winter hit. This happened in like November, and so Colorado went into a pretty good cold spell. I decided, well, I'll troubleshoot it over the winter. So unfortunately, Oberon isn't like straight up like we're used to customer service in the US. That's the big thing when you get an Oberon. If you got any issues with it, you're gonna have to ship it off to England, and that is not a simple process. You don't just go to the UPS store. You gotta sit your ass in line at USPS. You know, like, when was the last time you went to the post office? Like, it takes forever to get anything done at the post office. So anyways, long story short, right, you gotta go to the post office. It's only $20 instead of $120, and then it's gonna be 2 months before you get it back. And they're gonna blow smoke up your ass the whole time, make you do all this testing and all this bullshit that costs you oil changes when it doesn't work. It's like, dude. So after going through 2 oil changes, I said, the hell with this. And I complained to the place where I picked it up from. And I complained to, which was Vanash Motorsports, and he was cool about it. So, you know, he sent me to Oberon first, and then he came through and he warrantied it. He sent me a new one, and then Oberon eventually, after 2 months, sent me one. But we're talking, I put in the warranty claim finally in, I think it was February 28th, the last day of February, and I did not get it back from England until April 22nd. Like, that's ridiculous. And of course, in the meantime, I wasn't going to be out and wait, so I went and picked up a Rekluse, and that's what I got on it now. And the Rekluse, so comparing the Rekluse to the Oberon, performance-wise, I like the Oberon, but obviously having to deal with shipping it to England anytime there's an issue, they don't really sell a rebuild kit. It's ridiculous. I feel much more comfortable with the Rekluse. It feels like an exact OEM replacement, a one for one. Doesn't feel any different than OEM. So I like what's going on with it, and that's my stories about reliability. There's nothing that wrong with the bike. It's me, and I bet if I put in the time, the OEM Clutch Slave is probably good to go. But I got the Rekluse in there. I'm happy with it. Right, the rebuild kit on the Rekluse is like $30 if I ever need to. Versus the OEM rebuild kit is $200 or $185. And that's what you had to deal with. What I had to deal with when I lost clutch fluid out of my hydraulic clutch. It's troubleshoot it for, if I'm wrong, it's $120. Well, right out the gate, you're changing oil anyways, right? You lost oil out of it, or you lost your fluids. You're going to change your oil. $120. That's one oil change. If you're wrong, you're looking at another $120. Or OEM rebuild kit is like $185. Oberon, I think it was $210 delivered. Rekluse is $235 delivered. And so everything's kind of like a step outside of each other. You're like $10, $20 here or there. But again, if you're wrong, it's freaking $120 per oil change, and that just really put me off at the beginning of the year. Reliability wise, that stacking it with the whole clutch lever blowing out on the trail, I was like, man, I cannot, getting 15,000 miles on the bike, I don't want to be out there and have another one of my issues come up. So I really started to get attracted to looking at a new bike, and the Z900 is a lot of fun. It's a sports bike, and up here at elevation, it rides like a 600. It's not. I thought I was getting closer to a leader bike, but up here at elevation, I bet the leader bikes feel like a Gixxer 750. But we'll get back at it.